the grain on this is going in this direction. So this will shrink very little. This is 15.5 inches. This is 14 7/8. So that top has shrunk 5/8 of an inch because this table top was exactly round when it was made because it had to be. This was turned on a lathe. It had to be perfectly round. You see, this is what we call the cleat. And that is, the top is held to the cleat with screws. But as the top shrinks, something's got to give. So sometimes what we do is we find the screws, they're actually pointing in. If you were to take them out, they started life straight up and down, like that. But then as the top shrinks, they're pulled in. So when we take them out, the screws are actually on an angle. But then as you just heard, a lot of times the cleat will actually stick out because the top has shrunk so much. And in this case, this cleat probably wasn't quite so prominent to the edge of the top.
Back to our toolkit, the one thing I wanted to mention, you have your utensils, you have your lights, your magnifying glasses, your tape measures. But one thing that you really want to bring anytime you're looking at an antique is all 5 senses. You really can use every bit of your detection skills to determine whether an antique is original or not. The sight, obviously, touch, texture, feeling that shrinkage. On the standard, you can really feel that it's oval and no longer round. Of using taste to determine originality in antiques. And I thought, wow, what a great time. I just heard this morning. And he was dealing in the world of Kentucky rifles. And just taste it, put your tongue on the metal mechanism, and if it has been reworked, you will actually taste the bleach and the calcium chloride that was used to artificially texturize those metal parts.
The one that my father taught me very early on is instinct. He said, over time, the more you learn, the more your instinct will become part and parcel of the whole formula. It's not unusual to find a Windsor chair or a table like this to have 5 layers of paint on it. But then what you try to do is get down to the original. You sort of peek around, you put the flashlight on it, you put the big lights on it to see what the color is underneath and how the elements all match. They all started life together. The 4 sides started life together. The top started life together. You know, it's like if you live long enough with one woman, you start to look like her. Hopefully not Gina. You're okay. So that's what we try to do is you sort of look to see if the color of the wood on all the elements are similar.
You know, whether the piece makes sense altogether, whether the form is consistent. And consistency, again, is what really you're looking for to make sure it's not a William and Mary leg with a Chippendale foot. You know, this table with a ball and claw foot as a form would give you some reason to look much more closely at it and to proceed with caution.
And you're welcome to do this. These legs, just like the tabletop that we showed you, wood shrinks. So if you were to, and we can do this blindfolded now, but it took many years to learn. In order to turn this leg on a lathe, it had to be perfectly round, just like the top on the table. Otherwise, it's like a warped 78 record. And so it started life perfectly round, but as wood shrinks, it now is ovoid. And if you take your hand and you just don't squeeze tight, just let your hand glide around it. All right, so now this is a reproduction. This was probably made about 50 years ago, maybe 75 years ago, by somebody who was really talented. Made a really nice table. And there again, it's called a tavern table, with what we call block and turn legs. I tried to find one, you know, that's as similar to this as we could today. But you see the color underneath here? It doesn't have that really warm, rosy, deep, penetrating color. It's just like artificial color. And there I'm going to give you the scratch test. I'm going to show you that because it has not aged like this yet, it takes years and years to get that mellow color. And sometimes in order to pre-age it, a cabinet maker will put stain on that penetrates the wood. And can you all see? Nothing happens. It doesn't scratch like the other table did, that natural color. It just isn't there. This William Mary Lowboy is one of my favorite pieces. It's one of the rarest forms that exists. William Mary Lowboys just are so, so rare. And so that took a cabinet maker. This was made around 1730, 1740. I'll do the scratch test again. See how easy it scratches. That aging color is just so rich in there that it just comes right off. And what you want to find is, like Kevin said before, consistency. We want to see consistency of the color of the runners, and the color of the bottoms of the drawers, and the color of the backboard, and the color of the sides, and the color of the apron on the inside. And that's what we're looking for, because this table has lived all its parts together in the same dirty house, or the same clean house, or the same back bedroom all its life. You see, in the center of that drawer, you see the line down the middle where it's lighter? Okay, so watch where it goes. It slides down, and you see how it's being protected. That drawer runner is now protecting it from the air. So that strip down the middle did not get darker because the smoke and the dirt, which I keep repeating myself, but it's really true, didn't get there. So this is a reproduction that was made by our cabinet maker who worked for our family for 50 years, and he gave this to my wife and I when we got married 37 years ago. He made an exact copy out of old wood. This is 200-year-old wood, but it doesn't have, because he had to recut the boards, it has not aged yet. It doesn't have that warm color yet. That takes so many years to get. And the scratch test. See, it scratches a little bit because it actually is 35 years old now, but it doesn't have the same depth of color.